Hello, this is the astrology and energetic forecast for the week of July 30th through August 5th of 2023. We are still in beautiful, glorious Leo season with the sun in Leo building through this week to the Lion's Gate portal, which is when the sun in the sky hits mid-season of Leo, so 15 degrees of Leo. And that will go exact on 8/8 Lion's Gate. So more information next week as we get a little closer to that. But this week, as we're building into Lion's Gate, I felt one planet specifically really draw me in, really call out to me as kind of the focal point for the week. And it's actually the planet Mercury. Mercury he represents our mind, the way we think, the way we communicate, intellectualize within ourselves, and then outside with the world outside of us. Mercury is a very special being, is sometimes seen as an androgynous being, and also the psychopomp. The psychopomp is able to move through the natural world, the living world, and move into the underworld, stay alive, collect information, and bring it back up unscathed. I am very passionate about Mercury because of this. It is a total ally for shadow work, for looking at things that are maybe trapped more in the unconscious or the subconscious, and bringing some of that to light. So, this week and over the weekend, Mercury is moved from the sign of Leo, where the sun is and Venus is retrograde right now, and is moved into Virgo. Now, this felt like just an idea kind of dropped in around this for me personally, and I want to extend it to all of us. As Mercury had moved through Leo, we were getting lots of information to think about and kind of process, maybe even verbally process with friends or partners around how it feels to be seen for who we really are. I think a lot of times with Mercury and Leo, it can kind of get us into some ideas and some inspirations about more authentic ways to be seen, to let oneself be seen, and to shine. Going back even to like last week, we talked about Leo season so much. Like, the wisdom of Leo is knowing what its heart's desire is, what it's here to embody, to create, and then it's able to do it with heart, with compassion, with empathy, with passion too. So while Mercury was in Leo, we were getting a lot of information about this. And Leo is a fire sign. So a lot of this would be around passion projects, creativity, where we're wanting to literally show up more in our life for ourselves and like for who we are to be on Earth at this time. Well, now with Mercury moving into Virgo, we are moving from a fire sign to an earth sign. And Mercury actually is at home and rules the sign of Virgo. So, what does this mean? I feel like what came in through for me this morning was this feeling of, as we've taken some of that information from Mercury and Leo, and it's been more fire, and maybe even a little bit more like intuitive or mental, not actually actualizing, not crystallizing in 3D. Now, with Mercury moving into Virgo, we can start to actually root some of these ideas, some of these passion projects, some of these things we're wanting to create. We can start to do them, root them into 3D reality. Now, with Mercury being at home in Virgo, there's so much juicy, delicious, like, energy here to just, like, start making it happen. And, like, a lot of, like, almost, like, willpower and just, like, easy flow to, like, click things into place. The other thing I'm always really aware of with Mercury in Virgo is feelings of imposter syndrome, feelings of inferiority complex, like there's somebody out there that's already doing it or doing it maybe better than I could do it. So do we really need my contribution? And it can be really hard on itself, very self-critical. It can be, I mean, for lack of better words, just like very cruel to self. So there is definitely a medicine here for this part in all of us. I would encourage you, if you want to dig a little deeper at this, look at where Virgo is in your chart and just beginning degrees of Virgo, like 0 to about 3 degrees of Virgo. What house does that fall in for you? That area of life is going to be where there is a little bit more of this focus of thought, intellectualization, and then wanting to communicate around that with Mercury. And then with the energy of the psychopomp, really inviting light to be cast on some of the shadow. The other thing I was aware of in this is that Mercury is surrounded by a couple other beings, planetary bodies. And sometimes when I look at the chart, the way that I will read it, like the way it will impress upon my consciousness, is really literally like the physical layout and what is surrounding what, in this kind of way of like picturing it almost like we're on a train. What's at the front of the train and what's the caboose? Who's pulling us to where we're going and who's like holding it down in the back, like almost like protection, like allies for the journey. Okay, specifically around this mercurial energy and how it's going to feel as we start to actualize and crystallize being seen for who we really are. On either side of Mercury to start, like in the closest part of the orb, we have Mars, the divine masculine, and Venus, the divine feminine. That to me was so gloriously gorgeous because there's like balance on either end for both energies, masculine and feminine, shadow and light. And let's not forget, Venus is retrograde. So the divine feminine side of all of this is really in a lot of receiving mode right now because she's retrograde. We're really just softening and we're really staying with that question that we talked about last week. What is your holy heart's desire? What are you here to create from your heart space? Venus is on one side, magnetizing some of this information, but it is happening a little bit more under the surface with the retrograde. Mars, on the other hand, is in Virgo. And I've been feeling this so beautifully because Virgo is a sign of the goddess that's harvesting. She's reaping the harvest of what she's sown. And so that we have the divine masculine in this sign of the goddess. To me, there's still this beautiful feminine undertone in all of it to soften, to flow, to receive nature as she is, to receive ourselves as we are. So much of the masculine in this placement is it's a softer space, or it's being invited into being a softer space. I think wounded Virgo sometimes can you relate to this if you're, especially if you're like, I see it a lot with women or wounded beings that feel like we have to kind of keep ourselves like controlled. You'll see almost a rigidity in the body, like upper chakras, where it's like we're just a little bit more tense. We're always pretty like poised and calm, cool, and collected, and it just stays kind of tense though and stuck. There's not a lot of flow. There's not a lot of movement. I think partially some of what I feel like is an undertone here with the Mercury and Virgo between the Mars and Venus is a repatterning even of what does Virgo look like in its wisdom. Because Virgo can still flow. It's opposite of Pisces, after all. A little bit like outside even of this specific place I'm talking about in the chart with Mars, Mercury, Venus. My eagle eye zoomed out when I was looking at the chart even more. And I was aware of another energy surrounding us on the front and on the back, holding this all in her arms. And what I'm referring to is actually the asteroid goddess Ceres, who is in Libra at this time, and another asteroid goddess, Vesta, who is in Gemini at this time. These are both air signs. And I could say so much here because we have the South Node in Libra right now. So we are really working with this axis that I've talked about it so much lately of Libra and Aries and finding a balance between self and other for the next 18 months. Well, Ceres, the asteroid, she's actually a dwarf planet now. The details, the nuance. She is the embodiment, the planetary embodiment of the Great Mother. And to have this Great Mother archetype in Libra now, as we're releasing so much of the old story of Libra with the South Node in Libra, we have Great Mother there holding that energy, that frequency. And when I tuned into this morning, specifically for this week, as it relates to Mercury moving into Virgo and some of the analysis paralysis that can start to happen, or the inferiority complex, or the feeling like I'm not doing good enough, I need to be doing more, or I need to do it better, which implies there's a right and a wrong. I felt Great Mother, Ceres in Libra, come down this morning and say, hey, I don't need you to be good. I don't need you to be good. We're not talking about behavior here. Who are you? Who are you? The real you. Away from the programming, the overlays, the personality parts. Who are you? The soul. You. Ceres is holding that statement. I don't need you to be good. You're made perfectly. That energy is trining Vesta in Gemini. Trines bring flow. They bring ease. And if you know me at all, that is the way I have decided and chosen to live my life. On the pillars and the foundation of grace and ease. So I love trines. I love leaning into trines because it's just like, how can it be more easy? What's better than that? So with this trine, with this flow, with this ease, we have Ceres trining Vesta. Vesta is one of my favorite asteroid goddesses. She is the high priestess. She was the leader of the Vestal virgins, the priestesses in the temple. She was the keeper of the sacred flame in the center of the temple. Always made sure that the flame was still burning. She is the goddess of sacred sexuality, body sovereignty. The leader of the Vestal virgins, and then to be clear, virgin, the definition of virgin being to be whole unto one's self, not something that can ever be taken away from you. So we have Great Mother trining this goddess of wholeness, body sovereignty, the high priestess in Gemini. And Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. So I was feeling this beautiful dance in the air elements, which are also can be so heady, so mind. And I don't know about you, but for me, many times and for many years, I almost like, as I was on my embodiment journey, I started to notice I began to demonize my mind, almost like wanting to escape my mind, because it was my mind would do the hamster wheel. My mind would do the analysis paralysis. My mind felt like the bad guy that I was trying to get away from. But then we're still exiling parts of us, right? And how can we come into wholeness if not everyone is invited? So I've been playing with my brain differently. And this is what I would invite you into this week with Mercury in Virgo, surrounded by divine masculine, divine feminine, and then zoomed out even more surrounded by this gorgeous air trine with Ceres and Vesta. I'm really, really getting a sense. The Vesta in Gemini piece, because it's Mercury ruled Gemini, there is an opportunity here to repattern the thought forms, to repattern the beliefs around, am I a good girl? Am I doing it right? Am I doing enough? And actually allowing that medicine from Ceres with that statement, I don't need you to be good, sweetheart. All I want is for you to be you. I don't care about your behavior. I care about your heart. I care about your being. How are you? Who are you? It's juicy stuff. It really is. I am like fully receiving this into my body, like, as I say it, because this is coming home to yourself. This is locating yourself. I pulled 3 cards for the week that I felt like really summarized literally what I felt like was coming through from the sky itself to us. So it's just so beautiful how it all weaves together, isn't it? But the first card that came through was the Queen of Pentacles. And she actually came through reversed. I'm just like, let us all take her in for a moment. Serene, peace, abundance. But like, she's soft. Her tailbone is relaxed. She's not charging forward trying to hustle for her abundance. She knows, in trust. It's already here. But this came reversed. And so to me, there's hesitancy there. There may be a little insecurity there. So this week, really looking at that. It's Pentacles. This is a suit of earth, material, 3D, finances, things in real, like tactile life that make you feel well-resourced and abundant. Those are some of the themes coming up. And then just it's like this radical trust that like, what is rising from under the surface with this Mercury and Virgo coming out into be harvest. Like, she's gonna reap the harvest of that. She knows it. She trusts it. So even if she can't see it in 3D right now, even if she's terrified out of her brains to actually do the thing she knows she's gonna do because she's here to do it, there's trust. Great Mother and High Priestess, they're with you. They are you. The next one that came through was the Page of Wands. And it also came through reversed. And this, to me, Wands, creativity. It is our passion projects. And it's the Page. She isn't developed into the Queen. Not yet. She's still in this like territory of student, of really learning, of still gathering information, of still kind of taking stock. So there is something on the student that feels like it's almost a relief. Like, you're not here, you don't have to be the expert. You're just here to be and express and throw the wand into the air and see where it lands. Don't need to do it perfect. What even is perfect? Boring. There's a piece in my head that's like, no, it's not. It's unattainable, is what it is. And isn't it fully attainable? And the paradox of that, because aren't we perfect? Just right here, as we are. The last one that came through, I felt like really anchored the 3. And it is the 7 of Cups. And you'll see, this being, he's uncertain. There's all these cups turned over. There's a snake coming out of one that's probably giving him a little bit of the creeps. There's like a bat wing coming out of another one, or maybe it's a dragon wing. Basically, he knows he needs to choose a cup, but he doesn't know which one to choose, and he feels like he's gonna make the wrong decision. For that, those parts of us that are just trying so hard to do it well and do it right, I'm going to invite you with me right now to just open your hands. And almost visualizing the energy of Ceres, Great Mother, in one of your palms. And imagining the energy of Vesta, High Priestess, the Sovereign One, the Goddess of Wholeness. Receiving them into your hands. And then letting yourself visualize almost like a sparkly little air pockets bubbling up through your arms into your heart center. And as it hits your heart, it descends down to your roots and it ascends up into your head, where you are filled with the freedom sparkles of Ceres and Vesta. I'm going to invite you to soften your tailbone into this space. Really let your body physically receive them now. It is medicine for the mind that wants to know, it wants to understand, and that's okay. That's no problem. But we're just softening into some of the unknown as we invite more clarity to bring crystallization to our thoughts, to our beliefs, to the ways we think about things, communicate them within ourselves and outside ourselves. This is what I have for you this week. It is an honor to get this time and space with you. Deep breath in. Ceres and Vesta are with you as Mercury moves into Virgo, as Venus is here in retrograde, and as we approach the beautiful abundance that's coming with this Lionsgate portal on 8/8. Mwah. Have a great week. See you soon.